So you've got an AI chatbot over in one department, and then in another, you've got a cool tool that crunches sales data. They're both really powerful, right? But they don't talk to each other. It's like having a team of absolute geniuses who all speak different languages. Today, we're going to dig into how you can turn that chaos into a perfectly coordinated symphony of intelligence.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. It really does start innocently. You get a chatbot here, a fraud detection model there. Each one is a smart, focused solution to a specific problem. But when you step back, without a master plan, what you've really built is a collection of powerful but totally siloed tools. It's a mess, and that mess leads to wasted effort, conflicting data, and, honestly, a ton of missed opportunities.
So the big question is, how do we clean this up? Well, here's our game plan. We're going to start by really getting to grips with the problem, what we're calling the enterprise AI mess. Then we'll introduce the solution, an AI conductor. We'll even peek inside the agentic brain to see how these things actually think. From there, we'll get super practical with the idea of an AI worker, show you how to onboard them, and finally tie it all back to what really matters, giving you a serious competitive advantage.
All right, let's dive right into our first section, the enterprise AI mess. We really need to unpack this problem of having 1,000 amazing tools that just can't or won't talk to each other. Okay, and this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. On the left, you've got how we humans operate. We think in big, messy, unstructured ideas, right? A 100-slide deck, scribbled notes from a sales call, a long email chain about strategy. But on the right, you have what our computer systems crave, clean, organized, structured data. For decades, that huge gap between the two has been where brilliant ideas just disappear, lost in translation.
But what if? What if we could finally build a bridge over that gap? That brings us to our second section, the AI conductor. And the solution isn't about adding yet another isolated tool. No, it's something much smarter, much more elegant. It's all about orchestration. So what exactly is AI orchestration? Well, the conductor metaphor is perfect. Think about it. You've got all these incredible AI models. They're your violins, your cellos, your percussion section. Each one is a virtuoso. But without a conductor waving that baton, all you have is noise. Orchestration is that software layer, that conductor, that gets them all reading from the same sheet music and playing in perfect harmony to achieve one single unified goal.
Now, to really get what orchestration is, it's actually super helpful to look at what it's not. You've got things like data pipelines, MLOps, RPA, and look, they're all essential pieces of the tech puzzle. You need them, but they're the plumbing. They don't provide the strategy. AI orchestration is different. It's the layer that sits on top of all of them, the brain that turns all those disconnected tasks into a single, cohesive workflow that can actually reason and adapt. It's the brain, not just the pipes.
Okay, so we know we need a conductor, but how do the individual musicians, the AI agents themselves, actually play their part? How do they work? Let's go a level deeper now and peek inside what's called the agentic brain. This is where we see how an AI really thinks.
And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We throw around words like AI agents thinking and planning, but what is actually going on under the hood? How does it all work?
And here it is. This diagram lays out the whole process. Right at the center, you have the agent brain, which is usually a powerful language model, and it runs in this constant loop. First, it perceives the world by taking in data. Then, it plans its next move, and to do that, it dips into its memory and checks its library of available tools. It even reflects on that plan before, finally, it acts. And every single action it takes creates a new piece of data, a new observation, which kicks off the whole loop again. It's this beautiful cycle of constant learning and adapting.
Now that architecture is incredibly powerful, but I get it. It's still a little abstract. So let's make it real. In this next section, we're introducing the concept of the AI worker, and we'll look at how a platform like OrchestratorAI puts these powerful ideas into practice to build a real digital workforce.
So how does an OrchestratorAI worker get the job done right? Well, it really comes down to these three things. First, they're modular. You start them with baseline skills, and then you can teach them the custom skills and tools unique to your business. Second, their work is completely traceable. This is non-negotiable, especially in regulated industries. You get a full audit trail of every single decision. And finally, and this is huge, they build memory and context. They learn your company's lingo, its processes, its history, so they're not just blindly executing tasks, they actually understand the why behind the work.
This all sounds great in theory, but you're probably wondering, okay, how do I actually get started?
The good news is this isn't some massive, scary, rip-and-replace kind of project. Let's walk through a really practical workflow for onboarding your new digital team one step at a time.
The whole process is designed to build trust and grow capability over time. You don't just throw it in the deep end. You start with an L1 trainee. It handles basic tasks, and a human is always supervising. Once it proves itself, it gets a promotion to an L2 junior worker. Now it can handle standard stuff on its own, but with a human still overseeing. And finally, it becomes an L3 senior worker, managing complex, multi-step jobs with very little oversight, and, this is the key, it keeps learning and getting better from every task. It's a crawl, walk, run approach that makes the whole thing feel safe and totally manageable.
So, what can a fully trained L3 senior AI worker really do? Okay, let's take a customer profiling agent for a spin. Imagine it reading through thousands of your sales team's messy, unstructured call notes and transcripts. It understands the nuance, pulls out the key customer pain points, and then automatically maps all that rich insight to your formal marketing segments. It can then recommend the perfect next best action for your sales team to take. This is it. This is how you finally bridge that gap we talked about, turning messy human conversations into structured, actionable business intelligence.
And all of this brings us to our final section. And honestly, it's the most important one, the new competitive advantage. Because this isn't just about doing the same old things a bit faster. This is about fundamentally changing how work gets done. It's not about having more people on your team anymore. It's about having better teams.
Jack Dorsey just said it perfectly. A significantly smaller team can do more and do it better. This is the new economic reality. The companies that are going to win are the ones that learn how to use AI not just to automate away boring tasks, but to amplify the unique talents and the critical judgment of their human experts.
Which brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway from all of this. For decades, the bottleneck to growth has always been execution. How many people could you hire to do the work? Well, that era is ending. AI agents can now handle execution at a massive scale. The new bottleneck and the new source of incredible competitive advantage is direction. Your success is now defined by your strategy, your judgment, and the clarity of your vision. And listen, this isn't some sci-fi, far-off future. So-called dark factories, factories that are fully automated, they already exist. Software that writes and improves its own code is here right now. So the question I really want to leave you with is this. The lights are already off in some factories. The game is changing as we speak. Is your organization ready?